My belief is that we'll be substantially higher by the end of the year. The one thing that you can never, ever forget is that the critical time is going to be the last week here in October.
Obviously, that right there is very good for TAO. This Bittensor subnet is beating Amazon Web Services. It's beating Amazon Bedrock. It's beating every single other inference provider. So Paul Tudor Jones is one of the greatest investors of all time. He runs a hedge fund that has $45.9 billion worth of assets under management. Let's hear what he just said and exactly what it means for Bittensor TAO.
It's so funny because you'd mentioned that 54% of fund managers think that we're in an AI bubble. If it's a bubble, it's a small one. And again, how do you actually define bubbles? If you think about the bubbles of the past 3 or 4 decades, the Nikkei in 89, NASDAQ in 99, biotech after 2011, 12, China, 2007, all those were 400 to 600% gains. The NASDAQ's up 200% off the bottom. So I don't know whether we're going to blow off like we did in 1999. Are all the ingredients in place? Clearly they are.
He's like, this is a way smaller move than any other speculative manias we've seen before over other revolutionary technologies. So we're focusing on Bittensor TAO because it's totally undiscovered. Right now, most money has flowed to big cap tech, right? That's the easy trade. How do we make life-changing returns? We find undiscovered revolutionary assets. So we're going to dive into exactly what's going on with TAO, but he's saying there's more room to run, more room for capital flows to discover some of these revolutionary assets.
The one thing that you can never, ever forget is that a year from today, assuming that the president gets his wishes, that the Fed funds rate's going to probably be, I think they would like to see it at 2.25. That's a really compelling story for higher equity prices.
Your portfolio would be long stocks. You said you'd be long gold. You said you'd be long Bitcoin, and those have been great picks. Check out this chart, right? Gold alone is a 22% gain, but all of them are well above zero. Do you hold on to that portfolio?
I think for stocks, the critical time is going to be the last week here in October. When we see the big tech earnings, as well as by that point in time, we'll have greater clarity on the resolution of the U.S.-China conflict. I would think that if the NASDAQ is higher going into early November, then you've got a chance for a real ramp in the last 2 months. What happens between now and then? I kind of think the market's going to be on the defensive until we get to, that's going to be a intersection of just so many really, really important data points. That's going to be a critical time. They also have a Fed meeting that week. You know, my prior is that it will resolve to the upside. We'll focus on where Fed funds will be. The market will look ahead 6 to 9 months and focus on that.
So essentially what he's saying there is that heading into the end of October, he thinks we're probably going to be a little defensive. There might be some chop. There might be some volatility because we have questions about what the Fed is going to do. There's questions about how the U.S.-China trade negotiations are going to be taking place, right? Trump is meeting with Xi. So he's seeing uncertainty. He's seeing defensiveness. He's seeing some volatility. Obviously, we've seen a lot of that in October. But then what he's going to be looking out for is a higher NASDAQ. So if the U.S. stock markets can show strength ramping up into November and December, he sees a massive rally in risk assets. Obviously, that right there is very good for TAO. TAO has been outperforming the rest of the crypto market. It's been showing a lot of strength. So if we get a rally in risk assets, that's very good for TAO. But let's dive a little deeper into the macro so we can understand exactly what it means for altcoins like TAO.
My belief is that we'll be substantially higher by the end of the year.
He's not betting against the Trump administration's ability to bring interest rates down. Why is that absolutely enormous for crypto? Because high interest rates have stifled small cap assets. They've stifled the economy overall. The one thing they haven't stifled is the easy bets, like big cap tech, right? Big cap tech doesn't need to raise money. They have hundreds of billions of dollars on their balance sheets. So they're not tied down to what interest rates are doing, like biotech is, early stage biotech, startups, real estate, obviously blockchain, obviously revolutionary assets like Bittensor. And this chart shows the ISM. This is kind of the Main Street economy having done nothing in black for years. It looks exactly like the chart of most altcoins. We have a massive bull market in 2021. It goes up. Then we have a massive bear market. Why? Because interest rates skyrocketed. They're still high. They're starting to come down. He's saying interest rates are going to continue to fall over the next 6 months. He says the market's going to start pricing that in, and we're going to get a massive rally. So it's just a matter of getting through the chop we've been seeing and making our way into an environment where interest rates finally come down after years. And at the same time, we have more room to run in terms of AI investment speculation. So a lot of this money is going to flow into assets tied to artificial intelligence. Why would that money flow into crypto? Well, obviously, you know crypto is tied to the ISM, right? So if interest rates come down, ISM pumps, the economy can breathe again. Retail has a little more money in their pockets. They can dive into some of these assets. We know Barry Silbert investing heavily into it. We know some of the most elite Silicon Valley titans currently around today, like members of the All In podcast, which we've covered on this channel. They're also investing in TAO. So we have institutional adoption. But why would people start to discover assets like TAO? Well, here is just one massively obvious example. Here's Chutes, the #1 market cap subnet within the Bittensor ecosystem. The higher the market cap a subnet has within the Bittensor ecosystem, the more TAO emissions it earns. So similar to Bitcoin, how miners provide computing power to earn Bitcoin, well, if you can have a subnet that has a massive market cap because the market realizes the value of it, you're going to earn a lot of TAO. So this is like decentralized capitalism. It rewards successful subnets. Chutes is #1. Here's what's going on with Chutes. This is mind-blowing, right? This is why retail is going to discover this asset. Chutes is apparently the #1 open source inference provider on Open Router, processing over 40 billion tokens per day. Here is Chutes. What does this mean? OpenRouter is an API aggregator for large language models. Amazon Bedrock, Amazon Web Services managed service, hosts and serves open source models like Meta Llama, right? Facebook's Llama, Instagram's Llama, and Mistral via OpenRouter integration. Chutes is a decentralized Web3 inference platform focusing on low latency hosting of models like DeepSeek V3, offering free tiers for broad access and rapid innovation. It leads at 35 million plus tokens per day. This Bittensor subnet is beating Amazon Web Services. It's beating Amazon Bedrock. It's beating every single other inference provider on the planet. Where is the money flowing right now? Straight into big tech, infrastructure. Chutes is beating it all. So this is why if we get any sort of favorable bull market, Bittensor skyrockets. This is one subnet. This is the current leading subnet. There are 127 others. But it's just an example of how revolutionary Bittensor is. Again, Chutes is beating Amazon, beating Microsoft Azure, is beating DeepSeek, beating Alibaba. So Bittensor is literally crushing big tech. It's more cost effective because it's leveraging decentralized technology, blockchain technology, the same technology that made Bitcoin become the world's largest supercomputer at a fraction of the cost it would have taken Amazon to do it. Well, this technology is enabling Chutes to become the largest AI inference provider at a fraction of the cost it would take Amazon to do it. This is mind-blowing, revolutionary technology. Paul Tudor Jones is saying there's more room to run in terms of AI investment and discovery of some of these revolutionary assets. Obviously, Bittensor is more revolutionary than big tech. It's more undiscovered. So the sky is the absolute limit. So according to Paul Tudor Jones, everything is set up to get a massive bull run in these undiscovered assets heading into 2026. And that is the point at which the world most likely discovers revolutionary assets like Chutes, like the other subnets we talk about on this channel, and like Bittensor. So get ready for a massive bull run.